Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Tom Vasel.
Today we're reviewing 3 games, not 1 game, not 2 games, 3 games all at once.
How about 4?
No, just 3, calm down. We're taking a look at King's Crown over here. And then we're taking a look at Great Kingdom from the same line. And wouldn't you know it, there's another one in the line, 9 Nights right here. So we're going to be taking a look at all of these. I'm going to give you a quick overview of all of them, very brief here. And let's do that first so you know what we're talking about. We'll come right back. We'll tell you what we think of them. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Here we're taking a look at King's Crown, in which the objective of the game is to get a line of bingo. And so if you get a line like this, or even diagonally, if you get a line like this one, you are going to win the game as long as that line is made up with your color crowns, black or gold color crowns. So how do we play? Gameplay is broken up into 2 halves. The first one is the token draft. We have a bag with tokens, and the players are going to take turns drawing tokens from the bag here and drafting them. So on your turn, you are going to reveal first, and so you're going to, if you want to, draw a tile from the bag and put it face up on the table, or if there are any on the table already that are face down, you could reveal one of those. You're going to do that twice. So once, twice, then you are going to take a tile. It could be any tile, whether it's face up or face down. So I might take this tile and put it behind my screen, and then anything left over on the table gets flipped face down. My opponent's turn then comes up, and my opponent is going to do the same thing. They have the bag. They are going to draw one. They are going to maybe draw another one. And they can now take one of these, including this one, which they should remember what it is. So there is a memory element. Maybe they'll take this, they'll put that behind their screen, and this gets flipped face down, leaving it in its spot so the players can use memory to determine what's there. This continues with, again, revealing, and if you want to, instead of pulling from the back, you can reveal one of these, until then taking and then flipping face down until every player has 12 of these tokens behind their screen. You begin with 2, by the way, behind your screen already randomly from the back. So you're really drafting 10 more. And then we go to the second half of the game. During that second half of the game, the players are going to take turns putting a token in a crown and putting that crown on the board here. The rules that must be followed are, if you're going next to nothing, orthogonally next, you can just place out your crown. But if you are orthogonally next to something, then you have to follow some rules. So if it's going to be the same color, such as this placement here, then it has to be one higher or one lower. And so this is a legal placement here, whereas if I put corner to corner, then it really doesn't matter. This is fine as well. It's only if they are orthogonally adjacent, all right? So this placement would be good. And then if I wanted to do the same color, a different color, then it has to be the same number. So this would also be fine right there. And now I could play next to this one over here. Could be a 20 or an 18 in silver and so on, if I wanted to play like that. Now, if you have multiple numbers, such as this one here, then you can play in between them and you can satisfy either condition. So this satisfies this condition, same number, different color, so it doesn't matter that this condition is not satisfied. I only need to satisfy one. Players continue taking turns, placing out these crowns until somebody gets that bingo line, and that player is the winner of the game. Next up, let's take a look at Great Kingdom. In this game, you begin with a blank board like this with a neutral building in the center, and the players are going to alternate placing their buildings, trying to claim territory or surround an opponent's group and capture it, therefore ending the game. If the game does not end that way, then whoever has the most territory on the board claimed is going to be the winner. So on your turn, you're going to place one of these, and you will alternate placing these as you are claiming space. So you could do that by claiming a territory using your own pieces and the neutral piece. So blue has now claimed one, and orange could continue to do that as well. Perhaps doing this on their turn, and claiming this area here against the edge of the board. You can use 1, 2, or 3 edges to claim an area, but not all 4 edges. So of course, orange could not put, say, some pieces here like this, and then say that this whole area, assuming that the opponent wasn't in it, was the area they were claiming. You can use 1 side, 2 sides, or 3, but not all 4. This is going to continue with the players taking turns. Again, if at any point one of the pieces is surrounded by the opponent, 1 or more pieces with no empty spaces, then they are going to claim that area, okay? And they are going to win immediately. So if blue does that for some reason, then orange could go here. They will immediately surround that blue piece, capture it, and the game is immediately over, and orange has won. You cannot claim an area, by the way, if it would have anything in it. If your opponent, so say, you know, blue has placed these pieces here, and and it's orange to play next. If orange places there, blue cannot place here, and say they've claimed this area. Orange has a piece inside of it, so they cannot claim that as territory. That is not territory. Blue would then have to figure out a way to maybe attack orange in here, and orange could, of course, if they did that, immediately win by doing such a thing. Blue is not a very smart player in this game. So there you go. That is what's going on. You're going to be doing that, claiming territory. The players can also, instead of placing, they can pass on their turn for that turn. You can jump back in, obviously, next turn. The game's going to be over when something is captured, as you saw. When both players pass as well, and then if both players pass because a capture wasn't made, then we count claimed territory, such as this here, and whoever has the most claimed territory, either against the edges of the board, with their own pieces, or with the neutral piece here, is going to be the winner of the game. Finally, let's take a look at 9 knights here. Each player is going to have 9 of these knights. They are going to have 3 archers, 3 warriors, and 3 rangers. And in secret, they are going to assign numbers to all of these. Now, I've arranged them like this because you need to put the 1, 2, and 3 across a set of each, then the 4, 5, and 6, same thing, and the 7, 8, 9. That means if I discover my opponent's archer has a 9 in it, I know neither one of the other 2 archers could have the 7 or the 8. Okay, so that's why it's done like this. You will take these and you will assign them to the backs of these figures, and you will make sure that your opponent only sees the front of these, not the back, so that the number is hidden from them when that figure is on the board and moving around the board. You can see the value, your opponent cannot. Both players are going to do this. Both players are also going to shuffle up these pieces, which have the numbers 1 through 9 on them. You'll mix those up. Each player gets 1 of these tokens, which has a secret value on them, and makes one of their pieces a little bit special. So you're going to take 1 of these for each player secretly again. The rest are set aside, but you can look at your own. So my special is the 3. And then the players are going to take turns placing these knights out here on the board, starting with placing 1 on my side, myself. My opponent will place 1, and then we go back and forth placing 2. So actually it's 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then finally 1 again. We will have 3 that sit in reserve, and the rest are on the board. So let's go ahead and jump to that. After both players have finished placing all of their knights, we're going to reveal these tokens and leave them where they are. And then we are ready to begin. So the objective of the game here is one of 2 things. You will win if you get one of your knights over to the opposite side, landing on the spot that matches their number. If you walk into that spot with the matching knight, you are going to win. The second way you win is by eliminating all of the knights from the board. So on your turn, you're going to select one of yours, and you're going to move it 1 space. It can move in any direction, but it can move 1 space. And again, now after I've placed them is when I know that the numbers over there and where they ended up. So for example, I could see that that's the 9 ended up right there. Well, I happened to put the 9 right here. So I could actually try to march that in over there, and if I do that, I'll win. So I move a piece, then my opponent will move a piece. And I will again move a piece, my opponent will move a piece. This is going to continue. If at any point I walk a piece into an opponent's piece, we will fight, and we will reveal the numbers to each other and see who the winner is, okay? Now, if I reveal a number that is higher than another number, then I am going to win. The 9 will beat the 3, usually, and that piece will be removed, and the winning piece will stay wherever it was. But there's a few rules to that which you need to be aware of, which change that basic higher number wins. If there is a fight and the numbers are only one off, such as the 8 versus the 9, the lower number wins, and that's true for all of them, okay? So if the 6 fights the 7, then the 6 is going to win. If it's the same number, the one who started the fight is going to win. And then there's a few numbers that have special rules. So the 1 will always beat the 9, and then this number here, if you ever fight and it's the 8 you are fighting, you could reveal this, and let's say it's your 3 can take out the opponent's 8. Now that might seem like a very specific rule, but it does matter in the game because the 8 is very strong. It can beat the 9, cannot be beaten by the 1. So the 8 is a very strong piece. And so this continues. Perhaps again, the rule was that I stepped in here, I fought, it was actually the 8, so the 9 is eliminated. And when any piece is eliminated, we're going to put it over here, face up on the table. As pieces are eliminated, you can bring in these support pieces that are off the board. But once you've run out of these, then you will no longer bring anything new onto the board. This continues with the players moving, fighting, learning things about the pieces left on the board. My opponent now knows that since this is a 9 and it is an archer, the other 2 archers cannot be the 8 or the 7. They have to be at least lower than that. So they're learning information about my leftover pieces. And this, like I said, continues until somebody gets a piece across the board. If I have this here and I walk into that spot, it's the 5 on the 5, I win. Or if a player is fully eliminated, then the opponent will win the game. And that is 9 knights. All right, there we go, folks. Let's start with...
We should mention all 3 of these games, as far as I can tell, are designed by the same person.
100%.
Lee Sedol, who's a big Go champion in Korea. There's probably more about him I don't know, but that's what I got from it. And he wanted to do his own set of board games, so that's what these are.
You know more than I know.
Well, definitely feels like a Go. A Go... Someone who likes Go.
A Go champ, a Go, like, enthusiast.
Well, one of these games is close to Go.
One of them very much is. Yeah, we'll get to that one. Let's start, like I said, though, with King's Crown over here, which I'm going to go out and say right now I think is the weakest of the 3. It's very lucky.
It's very unfortunate.
It's very random. The pieces are lovely. These crowns, these plastic crown pieces are very lovely, but the game just feels... like a bad version of Sudoku or something like that. Like a very sort of lame, loosey-goosey version of that.
The thing is, it sounds cool when you teach it.
Sure.
You're like, we're going to draft. We're going to take these numbers. And then it's, I think, as dumb as it is, there's not that many rules about putting colors next to each other and stuff. And I still, if you ask me right now, I don't know if I would get it right. When you're drafting, you're like, oh, these are... oh, that's right, numbers that have the same color can't, you know, there's some weirdness to that, I thought.
There's a whole first half of the game that has nothing to do with the abstract game you're going to be playing afterwards. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, it would be kind of like if you played chess, but you have to draft the pieces at first.
Yes.
And you don't know what you're going to get until you, like, reveal a card that tells you, like, you may take a pawn. I'm like, okay, I'll take a pawn. And then you flip another card that says, you may take a queen. And you're like, oh, yeah, cool, I'll take that. And again, they're not power ranked like that, but some numbers are clearly, based on what you've already got, better for you. I can put this one next to this one. I will take that. So really random first half, this weird drafting, to then play a second half that is so quick, it's almost inconsequential.
I agree. This is a really weak game. This is a 4 out of 10 for me, unfortunately.
Yeah... goodness, I really did not like it. I'm going to come in at a 4 as well.
Yeah, I love the pieces. I love the look of the game. Yeah, it just feels like there's a germ of an idea there, but this one should have been developed more.
Yeah, but we can only go up from here.
Or can we?
Can we? No, we're going up. Don't worry. This is the Great Kingdom, folks. This is very much like Go. This is the one that we're saying is very similar to Go with lovely pieces, a very simple sort of concept and idea, kind of like truncated Go in many ways. And while the game is a stunner and looks fantastic on the table, I still did not find it particularly compelling. I'm curious what you think about this one, because you've played more Go than I have.
Well, not much.
Well, more than I have.
This has a strong feeling of Go. I like this one okay. Mm-hmm. This one's a 6 for me.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily bad, but the biggest problem with this game is it's the kind of abstract game where you go, this is one we were like almost saying check in.
Yes, correct.
Because if you don't warn your opponent, you can be like, game's over. And you're like, oh, we just set all this stuff up for me to lose really quickly. And that's fine. I think when you're both really smart, you're trying to... But we talked about this in an abstract game we did a month or so ago. This whole idea of not missing something and losing because of that. Not because of strategy.
Yeah, I'm not playing better than you. I missed a thing. I missed something.
Yeah, and I don't know that I like that. And you can argue you got to get good at it and everything. I just don't know where this one's going to land. Because if you like Go, you're playing Go.
I agree. And if you don't like Go, or you like the idea of Go, but you want a smaller, less demanding version of that, we've also got games like that. Like Through the Desert is a tremendous game, more thematic, punchier, richer than this. Now, this looks good. I'll give it that. And in fact, it's probably my biggest... Like, the best looking of the three, I would say, is probably this one, because I like the aesthetics.
Zee's on all my stuff. I was going to say the same thing. I think this looks the best of the three.
But for me, I'm coming in lower than you. I'm giving this one a 5.
I will say one thing, though, about this that annoys me. It looks like these buildings should stack.
I know, but they don't.
They don't.
No, they do stack.
Well,
they
do
stack gorgeously. It's just not a mechanism in the game.
Right. It's like, why did you make them that way? I'm not sure.
All right, and then lastly, we're taking a look at 9 Nights over here. Let me flip this over because it's going to bother me. So 9 Nights is a little bit like Stratego. You know,
it is.
It's a bit like that. It's sort of, you take a look at it first and you go, oh, Stratego with extra pieces. But it slowly reveals more strategy and more interesting thing as you play it. You begin with extra pieces off the board. This idea of setting where the pieces randomly should go across. I really enjoyed that. And then just that, again, that challenging, that pushing forward, that reading into every little thing your opponent does. Like, you know, you push a piece towards one of mine and I'm like, oh, what do they know that I don't know? What are they coming at me with? How do I combat this? I make a push towards that piece with a different piece and get in their head. This one was surprising, and while also very good looking, again, I like the other one a little bit better, the looks. This is a really engaging game. This is by far, I think, the most interesting one of the three. It's very engaging. It's very, again, subtle, but interesting. There's something there.
I agree. I don't know that I have enough plays in my belt to say this is better than Stratego.
Sure.
But on onset, because I played Stratego to death when I was a kid, and it kind of gets a little boring. This one, you have to move forward. You can't turtle. You have to go out and win. Every game's going to be a little bit different because of pieces off the board and on the board. You can sit there and think about, okay, they put this piece here, so therefore it has to be this. There's like a little bit of deduction.
Well, I really like, there's 3 kinds of symbols. And so if you see, if one of them, you flip over one and it has a 7 behind it, you know that the other 2 can't be like the 8 or the 9 or whatever, right? And it's this idea of, oh, hold on, there's stuff I can figure out here.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Like, it's not just... Stratego is like, well, okay, that was your 7. I know that's off now.
You figure
that's all
it
I've got.
by attacking it with a piece.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. And that's the only way to learn the first piece here.
Yes, right. But then after that, you start figuring some stuff out. And I really like that. There's a little, it's not deduction, but you can sort of glean information, the longer the game goes on, the more information you can extract from the information that's available to you. I like this one. Now, it's not a revolutionary, abstract game for me, and it's still in many ways, like the other two, feel a little dated. These are new games, but they feel a little dated. They feel a little stuck in the past. For me, this is the best one, though, but it's still just a 7. I'm giving this one a 7. I like it. I would happily play it again. It's not wowing me the way some other modern abstract games do, but I enjoy it. And you know what? The production and probably the fact that I played it besides these two is helping it.
It's funny, yeah. I'm also giving it a 7. And what's funny is when we were talking about these, my interest in the games was in the reverse order of my ranking them. Mm-hmm. Like, this was the one I was least interested in. I was most excited about, King's Crown. And this one turned out to be my favorite. I like the idea of it. I like a Stratego with a smidge of deduction. It's also very quick, doesn't drag itself out. Yes, there can be a point near the end where I'm like, well, I probably have lost here, or won, whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's just some interesting, cool ideas.
Yeah, you can still make that sneak push towards the number, though, at the end. If you see an opening in your opponent's guards, you can be like, ooh, I could get this number 2 into the number 2 gate if I'm careful, if I'm sneaky. Hey, look over here. I really like the way this plays out. So there you go, folks. That is 9 Nights, 7 for us. That's a seal of approval on this one. And that's all 3 games here in the line from Korea Boardgames. So that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks very much for checking these out. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Tom Vasel.
Enjoy some abstract gaming.